There are as many ways to produce and distribute a podcast as there are ideas about podcasting, it seems. I'm going to take a relatively straightforward approach here with you, and you can do this however you want to. In fact, what I'm going to do is encourage you to go out and find a method in doing so. I'm just going to put out somewhat of a straightforward approach here in using tools that you might already have in your possession, so you don't have to go through and buy anything. You might need to download some free software to be able to do this. The chances are you already have a device that has recording software like an iPhone. Now, I'm iOS based, so I'm going to use Mac and iPhones as my starting point in terms of how to go through and do this, or how I would approach it through two ways. One is through acquisition. How do we acquire audio for a podcast? And I'm going to ask you to acquire at least two different tracks that you will end up mixing, and I'll show you how to mix that here in a minute. And so how to acquire audio with your iPhone device, and then how to transfer that audio data to your desktop so you can go through and start editing with that. And then how to edit is what I want to get into here with this. Really, we're going to be using GarageBand as my audio editor. So both the audio recording, I think it's a voice text or something like that, a voice recording software that comes with your iPhone. The interface looks like this. Actually, the interface looks like this as I bring it up. Voice memos. It's a little restrictive. There's not a whole lot you can do with it, but it looks like this if you decide to go through and do it. If you click on it, it comes up with a big red dot. You click on the big red dot and you record your voice. It comes up with a waveform that shows your dynamic range in terms of you actually recording. Once you are done recording, you click the red dot again. It stops it and asks you how to save it. And once I have it saved, I can go through and click on that. And you see the little box with the arrow on the left-hand side there. If I click on that, it takes this recording and turns it, I can, however I want to go through and share that. Here I'm doing it with email. And it just puts in my email address and goes from there. And I send it to myself. I pull it up in Gmail, and I can import it right into my editing device. If that was too quick, watch this one here. So this is a different app that I use. It's called Voice Recorder. It's free, but there's also a paid-for version that gets rid of the ads. I like this one a lot. It gives me a lot of versatility in terms of the amount of recording that I do. And as you see, I do quite a bit of recording with this. So I have a couple of samples that I did today and trying to go through and put together this demo. Man, I've worked on this thing for 3 hours trying to figure out how to do it. And my technological limitations aren't letting me do it the way I want to, but you'll see what I'm talking about here in a minute. So I have the very top recording at 10:54:51 a.m. Today's date. I recorded. What I recorded was actually starting up my truck because I might want to do a blog perhaps on overlanding, and I'm prepping out vehicles for proper overlanding. So I thought that's what I might do. So I recorded it. Once I hit the record button within this particular app, this screen comes up. It doesn't go into recording automatically. It comes up and says, okay, well, what kind of record quality do you want? Your sample rate, your bit depth, and things that way. You can go through and change this kind of thing. You can go into advanced and work all kinds of things. I'm not going to worry about that with you for now. I'm hoping maybe if you get into one of Sean Denneman's classes, you get a little bit more advanced. Once you start recording, it comes up with this old-fashioned VU meter. It shows that you're recording, and it also shows where you are in terms of your dB gain, if you're overriding or clipping. And you can go through and change your input gain to go through and make sure that you're getting a good quality recording. That's the number one thing I like about this is it gives me that VU meter to go through and see to make sure that I'm not saturating my audio. When I'm done, I hit the stop button down at the bottom, and when that happens, it comes up automatically with, okay, what do you want to do with it now? Do you want to play it? Do you want to send it by an email? Do you want to save it to Google Drive or Dropbox or whatever? I hear that I wanted to send it then to my Mac. So I sent by email is what I did. It asks, is an audio or movie? I click on audio. And how I want to do it, I want to do this as an email attachment, pretty straightforward. And it comes up with this. I fill in my email address and I send it along. And from that point then, it shows up. I open it. Let me go out to this. And let me go into my Gmail. And once I have sent it, it comes up in my Gmail as this icon right here, and I can go through and download that. And once I download it, and it's there, once I download it, now when I bring up GarageBand, it's already there, okay? So that's the method that I'm using, and I'm in a way kind of doing this tutorial to show you how you can record or acquire an audio file and go through and make sure you're engineering that audio file while you're recording it, and then save it and then send it to you as an email. There's lots of ways you can do this. I'm just doing it the way with hopefully the highest common denominator that everybody has the kinds of tools to go through and do this. Okay, so now that I've gotten it to this point that I've downloaded to my Mac here, I'm going to open up GarageBand, and this will take a second to go through and open. It'll come up with, well, so what really do you want to do here? And we're going to go through and into voice because that's the kind of application that I want to do. I really love the fact that they have a Fender Rhodes electric piano here. That's what I have in my home. That's what I've been playing my whole life. I think that's pretty cool. Anyway, I'm going to go through and choose that. And it's going to come up with a default recording setting. And I'm going to keep the narration vocal, but I'm going to get rid of all the rest of these here. And so here's the shortcoming. See, I record all of these screenshots that I'm doing here with QuickTime. And what QuickTime does not do, it doesn't actually record the audio that I'm getting out of GarageBand at the same time as recording the screen with this. And I'm sorry, I've worked this thing 6 ways a Sunday to try to get this to work. But nonetheless, let me go through and show you how I would put this together. So maybe visually you can see it even though you can't hear it. And maybe if I get a chance, I'll mix something together and I'll put it out. And so you can at least hear the end product of that. So you can see the VU meter here working with my voice. And I can go through and change those levels as it goes. If I wanted to start recording my voice, I could do that right here as I hit recording. Whoop, there we go. Now I need to bring that up. Now it's showing my voice as it's being recorded. And you see this here represented by the waveform of my voice as it goes down. So I'm going to hit stop on that. And there is that whole file. I can go back and play it, but I don't think you're going to hear it as I do. So I'm hearing it in my headphones, but you're probably not hearing it in the program that's being recorded through QuickTime. Anyway, what I've just done here is I've laid down a narrative track, and I've done this with the same microphone that I'm using an exterior microphone that is plugged into my computer. And the computer, my Mac goes through and recognizes its dynamic range, and I can go through and pre-engineer that so I'm getting the right kind of quality I want for my vocal audio. It's also being used by GarageBand because that's what you're seeing here in these digital VU meters, the master control, what I'm monitoring here in my headphones, and then over here on this side as well, it's coming up. So I've laid down a little bit of a track here. What I want to do is lay down a second or third track within this as well. And I can do this. I'm going to open up my media here, and as that comes up, you can see here, where'd it go? I'm looking for what I just uploaded here. Let me go back into there, and let me click on that and see if that'll pull it up. Okay, I'm hearing the audio of me starting my truck. All right, hopefully that'll be good to go. Let me go back. I'm just listening to it, and it's pretty quiet. So, okay, I'm going to go back to GarageBand. There it is. It just popped up right here, okay? Now, if I wanted to, I can just take that and pull it right up into my edit window, and it'll create a new track for me. And it gives me the tools to go through and monitor, to go through and have it play while it's going. So now I have these two together. And again, I have no idea if you can even hear that. I doubt that you can, but I can. My point here visually is that I'm bringing in two different tracks, okay? So let's say I want to bring in a third track. Maybe I want this to come in later on in the show. I'm going to scoot that down the line. as in terms of my podcast. Just get that out of the way. But you see that I still have another track going, and linearly within the timeline of this, that sound effect comes in. But I want to go through and do an intro in terms of music. Anyway, the main thing is a great tune. It's got about 20 seconds worth of pad coming in at the beginning of the song. And I can go through while it's playing. Let me bring my recorder back to that. Okay, now that I have it there, and as I play it, let me pull that out and bring this in and bring this in. As I play it, there's just a little bit of an instrumental as it comes in. The guitar kind of twangs a little bit, and then eventually it starts building up. As you see the waveform moving here, okay, and my other audio from my truck starting up, okay, it's a nice mix coming into this. A little loud on the audio. I'm going to bring that down. Now, if I want to, I can go through and start to engineer this. There's some, I want to. Where's it at? Where's my, you could tell I'm a pretty novice at this. I want to go through and do a crossfade and engineer this down. So eventually it fades out. And a line would come up. And I'm trying to find the ability to crossfade that and bring it down, but it's not doing it for me. And I've got too much going on in the video so far to get in there. I can click on the clip and engineer it so it fades out when my voice comes in. My whole point to this really is once we have everything that we've acquired in terms of our voiceover, in terms of our ambient sound, maybe in terms of a soundtrack that we want to put beneath the show and mix that in back and forth, we have the ability to do that in multiple tracks. GarageBand ships with a Mac product. I don't know what ships. It might be Adobe Audition that ships with PC products. There are a number of free products out there that you can download as well to go through and get into your acquisition and then get into your edit. Okay. Once you've got it edited, here's where we get into the big trouble, and that is, well, once we've saved it and we've downloaded it, what do? Well, probably the easiest way to save your podcast is to upload it as an iTunes file. Blogger and WordPress had recently had a hard time dealing with audio files. Let me go through and research that again and see what's coming up to where maybe that's been simplified for you to be able to do. Okay, so I'm hoping this created more answers for you than questions. If you have questions, you know where to find me. Okay, get them posted up on the discussion blog.